Hey, we are back. That is Siege. I am Smitty, and we are off topic on brand, and we are back with another episode.
Numero dos, I believe is how they call it.
Number 2, number 1, if we want to count the last one as episode 0. It really doesn't matter because, oh my God, we're back again.
There you go. There you go. He's been practicing all day.
Like just waiting for this moment, waiting for the time that I got to sing that. I don't know why I have felt the need to sing that song, but you know what? Here we are, and I'm owning it, man. I'm owning it because I'm happy that, for one, you and I are back together for another time. As we've said before, this is our way for two dudes that live hours apart now. Two good buddies, and gives us a chance to get together and just shoot the shit for a while. You know, we talk, we text back and forth every single day. It's reels, it's memes, it's something funny, it's a video, it's a song, whatever. But this is the one real dedicated time that we get to sit down and actually have conversation instead of these quick things. And dude, if we get to keep doing this forever, I'm on board, right?
Same here, my friend. And again, some of the stories that'll come out, they're going to be a little more on the serious side of things. Others will be funny, like our episode 0 pirate hook story. And again, thank God the statute of limitations is gone because my parents listened and they got a good kick out of it. So it was like they were there, but without all the embarrassment.
Yeah, they didn't get to see actively yakking and getting dragged out of a party and stuff like that. But, you know, it's awesome to me that your parents listen to it. You know, I've had some family members listen to it. And looking at the analytics, it's just been really cool to see. We've hit Russia. We've hit Canada. We're all around the Midwest. We've got, you know, multiple follows, multiple comments. We're on now on Amazon. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're over on Good Pods. I think I got us on Castbox the other day. We're just on a variety of platforms at this point, as well as social media. So to be the content creator guy that I am now, I'm going to say, smash the like button and follow us. You know, I don't want to do that stuff, but I know that it's fun and it's important. So if you're out there on social media, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, follow us on wherever you listen to podcasts, because it's cool to see the numbers, but it is also cool to know that there are people out there just wanting to listen. And we really think that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, exactly. And again, from your previous iteration of doing a podcast, you were able to hit up multiple different countries that my podcast that I had done previously didn't hit. And then I had a few that got touched and you didn't. So it's interesting to see where we're going to get them coming out of the woodwork from. And I know from our thank you posts that we've done separately about the pod, and just inviting people to tune in if you haven't already, and thanking those that have already jumped in with us. Our foreign exchange student, Justine from Latvia, had liked it. So hopefully we'll be getting another country ticked off the list rather short order from now.
Right. I mean, she's young enough to be an influencer, so maybe this is where that's going to come into play for us. But every little bit helps, you know, just sprinkle the dust out there and just kind of, you know, see where the wind's going to blow it or something like that. But hey, maybe with our powers combined, we can get all these places that both of our different podcasts have it over the time, and maybe just the full world takeover is about to happen. You know, conquer the Midwest and the world is ours. That's what we're going for.
Well, we mentioned being wrestling fans in the previous episode. It's got to be the Blue World Order. 3 words for you. We're taking over.
That's exactly right, my man. We are. It might take a little while, and it might not be the most triumphant of things. But, you know, realistically, it's, to me, looking at analytics, I'm not obsessing over them. But every time I see a number go up and I see, you know, a different age group jump on there, I see a different place that they're streaming from as far as where they're getting it, their source. It's really cool to me just to be like, man, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, not a lot. We're not one of those millions of download podcasts just yet. But seeing, you know, I think we're up into the 20s, 30s. Engagement is in the 60s to maybe even higher than that. So, I mean, for just having been out less than a week, I'm really thrilled with what we're doing so far. So, yeah, I again, don't want to obsess over it, but I think it's really freaking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, being two former radio guys, we know how to make stuff work MacGyver style with duct tape and paper clips. So hopefully it's coming across a little bit better quality than that in some of our pro broadcasts that we've had throughout the times. But regardless, we're trying out new things, working on the video side. So for those of you that don't like paying or even downloading apps, you'll be able to jump on YouTube sometime soon and get a look at the podcast, I guess is the best way to put it.
I don't know about you, but I'm borderline terrified of that. For one reason, I've got a voice for radio, and it's not the greatest voice because obviously I'm not in radio anymore.
Oh, stop it.
But
technically neither one of us actually ever worked in radio because we were never fired from a job.
Well, that's the rumor. You haven't been you're not really working in radio until you're fired. You've had to relocate several times. So somewhere along the way, I guess we just we're the Milton of radio. We just got forgotten about. We didn't have to burn down a building either.
No, there were some moments though. I think on both of our sides there were moments.
Right.
I think entertainment.
I think that's the true indicator of radio. If you've not been so pissed off to the point that you're just wanting to rage in some way, shape, or form, you haven't worked in radio.
I am currently broadcasting in our basement, and throughout my time, there were multiple occasions that I debated: is it worth going to the ER by throwing myself down the steps so I don't have to go to work? And then it dawned on me, unless I puncture my throat, I'm still going to have to do an air shift. So.
Right. Yeah. There's going to be somebody that's like, hey, we can hook this recorder up in your hospital room. You don't need your arms and legs. You don't need ribs. Can you talk? You're good? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I'm going to do the weather report right now. Can you give me some more of that morphine? A little more of the drip? All right. Yeah. So it's hot outside. Thankfully,
it's mellow mornings at that point.
Thankfully, that never happened. But, man, what are we going to talk about today? I know we've had a lot of ideas bounce back and forth. What is tickling your fancy right now, my dude?
Well, first and foremost, we just kind of touched on things, setting the stage for what's to come. But doing the way we started off our 0 hour podcast, let's just kind of toss back and forth what's been going on in your world. I know for me over the weekend, it was kind of a crazy weekend on account of I played hooky on Thursday. I worked from home. Then my wife wound up getting sick Thursday night into Friday. And so she took a half day Thursday and then stayed home all day Friday. I stayed home on Friday as well because I also was like, I'm not feeling the greatest. I could get to work, but let's not plague rid everybody. Our daughter on Saturday kind of had the snuffles when she woke up. My wife was feeling better. She went and had dinner with a friend of hers, a former coworker that used to teach in the same school district that she does, but now doesn't. And while she did that, I was watching the Royal Rumble. My daughter started watching it. She got through the Women's Rumble, WWE Royal Rumble, for those of you not in the know with the lingo. And we had a good time. And then one of her friends from down the street came over to play. So she missed the rest of the Rumble. And then after her friend went home, it's like, well, I'm going to go order pizza for us. And I guess, do you want to watch the rest of the Rumble? And she said, yes. Well, she was tired, didn't think anything of it. Woke up on Sunday after, again, consuming the Rumble, and then I turned on AEW when she went and was getting ready for bed and got to see Tommaso Ciampa win a title after he's just recently left WWE. So a full weekend full of wrestling. And then the next morning, I'm like, hey, I actually feel pretty good. I'm going to make some bacon and pancakes for the family, and hopefully everybody's happy. And I'm drinking my coffee, and my wife gets up, and then my daughter comes down the hallway and didn't really feel that good. 103 fever.
Ooh, that's rough.
So then Monday rolls around. We kept her home from school, and then today it was Dad stays at home with you because you got the fever again. But over the Monday night, and then again today, while she was home, I got to watch Raw with her. So it was a wrestling with illness weekend, literally and figuratively. So that's kind of my personal side of it. On the flip side of the positive, besides just the sharing the love of wrestling with the kiddo, getting to smoke a pulled pork, that was good times. And it stalled out on me, so I got a little frustrated at one point, but turned out really well, and we got a crap ton of leftovers. So more than likely it's going to get frozen before it goes bad, but trying to make the most of it while we got it.
I mean, the pictures that you sent, dude, that was, you got that. Your smoking game is... I
got to share. We throughout our relationship, we've learned if we're going anywhere, we don't care about the sights. We don't care about maybe some of the sounds. It's the food. Show us the food porn. Yeah. That's kind of the MO. So.
And if anybody out there ever wants to join in on a food conversation, if you're following us on social media, hit us up with hashtag FatLife. That has been the thing back and forth for so many years between the two of us. And we always know that something good's coming because we immediately, it's just hashtag FatLife. It's like, okay, I'm getting prepared. I'm licking my lips. What is coming up on my screen? And then it's either where you're eating that day, something that you've made. Both of us back and forth is just food porn.
And you got a hashtag if it's something coming out of a brand that has been around for quite some time, but it's new, say the new Oreo flavor or a Girl Scout cookie, it's Fat Life Alert is the coded info there.
Well, dude, again, your smoking game, since you've got that set up and you've got everything more tested and set up the way that you like it, dude, your stuff has been looking phenomenal.
And again, I don't want to call myself a master spokesman or anything on account of it. It is a pellet smoker, so I am cheating a little bit. But I'm a lot more confident with it than I thought I ever would be. So the fact that I've had pretty much everything turn out at least in passable order, that's A-okay in my book.
Right. I mean, people like your meat. You can brag about your meat. It's quite all right. Everybody has good meat.
I always enjoy playing with my butt whenever I have a chance.
Smack it, rub it. Got to get the butt in the right shape.
Of course.
Well, heck yeah, dude. That looked really good. And my smoker's been sitting out there because there's a deck above me, and I really haven't had a chance to mess with it here with all the snow that's finally starting to melt because I don't have I need to put some sort of awning system up there so that I can get water running away out to the side. So the smoker... I wanted to do it, didn't get around to it. Really, this weekend for me, it was intentionally low-key, and I'll get around to why here in just a little bit. But Saturday, I woke up. I thought I'd go to the grocery store, ended up not doing that because I sat down, turned on my PlayStation, and I was just like, this is going to be my gaming day. And so I probably played NBA 2K for 5 hours, something like that. And I just wanted to have a chill day, not doing I did the chores and the stuff you got to do. Sunday, I got up, went to the grocery store with the intent to make a giant pot of chili because freaking monster in there, man.
Apparently, my daughter is taking a shower. That was what that was, is kicking on the shower. So,
oh man, I was like, are we getting our first ghost interview? Very cool. But no, on Sunday, I was like, you know what? It's still cold out. We're still in wintertime. It's chili time. So I went in with the idea I'm going to make just the big pot of chili. Dude, instead of getting like a pound of meat like I normally do, I went for the 2-pound option, and I filled that pot like halfway full of meat. And then I did a couple cans of beans, just threw the Spice Weasel at it, hit it up with some bone broth and stuff like that. And that's really, it has been one of my more filling chilies that I've made in a while. Because I let that dude simmer for like 3 hours. And I was very happy with consistency and everything like that. And then, of course, that's when we got together later on in the day to get ready for our big thing we're going to talk about here in just a little bit, which is kind of, it's going to tie our lives together to a degree.
Yeah.
What we're going to be talking about later on, you're going to be sticking around. It's Divorced Dad Divorced Dad Rock playlist. And this all works out because we've already heard Siege talk about his daughter. That's the dad part of all this. Well, where's the divorce part come into play? That would be this guy. So we're recording on a Tuesday, and tomorrow is the date for my divorce. And so it's kind of been a weird thing. We've been separated since September. Didn't really see it coming at the time. Thought everything was cool. I mean, we'd just been to Florida like a month and a half before that. Kind of thought things were cool. And then you get hit with stuff that changes your life. And for, a few weeks, I talked to you on a pretty regular basis. I was in not the best of places mentally. Thankfully, I did start going to therapy, which we'll talk about our therapy stuff at some point. I have no problems opening up about therapy, and it's been very beneficial for me. I'm not cured. I'm not fixed by any means, but I do feel like I'm making.
No, sir.
I do feel like I'm making. Yeah, I do feel like I'm making good strides compared to where I was, months and years past. I know most people know what's been going on in my life, but in the span of 3 years, I lost my grandpa. Which my grandpa Smitty, that dude was top of the mountain. That was my hero. That was back in 2022. 2023, I lose a guy that was my dad's best friend. I called him Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike had been around for forever, it seemed like. So that next year, Uncle Mike's gone. Let's see, that's 2023. No, okay. No, 2021, Grandpa. 2022, that was Uncle Mike. 2023, my dad gets diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, glioblastoma. And so he passes in 2024. So, I mean, like 3 years in a row, just bam, 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 bam. And I am not in a great place mentally with all that. Obviously, as a person, that's my dad and my grandpa. And at some point, I know we'll talk about them more in depth as we go on with this. Those dudes were my heroes. I have no problem admitting that whatsoever. Like some people, they look at athletes, they look at musicians, they look at celebrities. That's their heroes. And there is nothing wrong with that. But I am one of the very fortunate people in this world that the two people I looked up to the most were the two guys that had the two guys that had such an influence on my life. For better or for worse, we all grow up with our own traumas and stuff like that. But losing those two guys, and it was just such a gut punch. And then I'm still reeling from all that, and my marriage falls apart. So, to make a very long story short, just one more punch, but stuff happens, right? You live, you learn, you grow, and we'll see how life goes from there. I know I'm mentally weird place most days. It's a weird roller coaster. It's like grief all over again, but at the same time, no, we move on. We carry on, and I'm not gonna let that stuff down, and I'm not on the edge or anything like that. But it's still kind of weird because tomorrow's the day, and it's like you put all this time. We'd been together for 15 years, married for 12. By the time we separated, and you hedge all this time into a future, and then the future's gone, and that is freaking scary, especially if you're a person that has been programmed that everything you do has to go toward the future. And so maybe in that, I'm learning to live in the moment a little bit more, not think so much about the future, not worry about what's going to happen in the future, because I can't control it. And if I've got this moment, I might as well live in it, right?
I will say this, man. I appreciate that our friendship is that you've been able to share with me what you want to share, when you want to share it. And at no point did you ever feel like, hey, I'm going to cut this guy out because he doesn't need to know. So that means a whole lot to me, and also the fact that you are proactively attempting to go talk to somebody that is a neutral party and has your best interests in mind. And again, I know through my adventures of needing therapy for many, 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 many years, and then finally going, again, it's not a cure-all, but it definitely does help to have that extra person there. So again, hopefully you're able to continue that. And again, thank you for sharing that. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, especially with not knowing who's going to tune in, but definitely appreciate you being so open like that. And also, I am disappointed. You started the Alanis Morissette lyrics, but you didn't go all the way through the song. That was very disappointing to me, but maybe you were just saving the music for our main event topic of the evening.
I've already sang one song already, so I figure one's enough, right? Unless we're doing some sort of drunk karaoke. But to what you said, I appreciate you because we've both been each other's sounding boards for many years at this point. And there were times where it's like I feel like every single day I'm just running down a list of why my life has gone to shit right now, and he's just got to sit here and absorb this. But the fact that you weren't just like, dude, you got to stop because I'm going through my own stuff. I can't handle it right now. You let me say what I needed to say and get stuff off my chest, and I appreciate that more than you may ever know, just that I could have somebody in my life that I'm comfortable enough opening up with on these things. At many points in my life, I never was really comfortable doing that. And knowing that I can do that, like I'm actually able to do that, and also I can do that in a sense of you're opening up yourself to allow me to do that, means the world to me, dude. And I love you, man. I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of love for me for you doing that.
Absolutely, man. And again, not ashamed to admit it at this stage of the game. Definitely love you too. You are a part of the tribe, the adopted family, brothers from another mother for sure. And yeah, it's going to continue that way. No doubt about it. And again, things have gotten a little heavy. Yeah. So let's move on to topic number 2.
Let's hit it, man.
We touch a little bit on pop culture, and that'll help us transition a little bit into our main event topic, which will be that Divorced Dad Rock playlist. So let's move on.
All right, man. Hit me what you got this week.
And we are back. We have needing to lighten things up a little bit with some pop culture talk. Again, kind of talked about it earlier, the daddy-daughter moment over the weekend with watching pro wrestling, watching the Rumble. And at this stage of the game, I think my daughter may be more into pro wrestling than I am. Now, granted, she doesn't have the years and years and years of useless knowledge and trivia about it that I do, but she definitely is a fan of the industry and got a lot of fun watching over the weekend. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which I will keep the soapbox rather short, I promise. We've talked about it via Messenger. The Grammys were this weekend, and not to say that the Grammys don't have a good finger on the pulse of pop culture, because they might have a good finger on the pulse of mainstream pop culture.
Right.
But we're having a bit of a history repeats itself moment with the Grammys, where in years past, they've not really done a lot of justice when it comes to the rock and metal performance categories. And now, granted, I know many, many years that there have been some controversies on picks for the top pop record, dance, whatever. And a lot of the rap categories have been controversial in some cases, but we are looking at something that was not presented on the main show of the Grammy. It was done on the pre-show, and in my opinion, it's one of those things that it's almost like slap yourself in the forehead dumb, like Jethro Tull winning over Metallica in the first year of the Metal Grammys.
Yeah.
I know very little about the band Turnstile, but they, with a straight face, anyone that voted for the Grammys, that had the ability to vote for the Grammys, it's very much like the NFL and their Hall of Fame. Even if you dislike the man so greatly, because I definitely dislike the man greatly, namely because of the 2001 Super Bowl. Well, technically, I guess it was the 2002 Super Bowl because it rolled in. Anyway, Bill Belichick was not voted in. By what criteria? That's the way I look at Turnstile being the best metal performance. What? When you have, and again, I am not a huge fan of the band, but I can appreciate it. And they definitely have metal elements to it. You have Sleep Token, which is a band at the very least that's created a huge amount of buzz amongst the rock and metal community. But they've at least got a little bit of metal cred to them, even when the purists and the cultists want to stick their nose up in the air and say, oh, no, they're not metal. And then you've got Spirit Box, that actually performed on the pre-Grammy ceremonies and ruled. Courtney tore up the stage. They are fantastic. We definitely want to see them at some point. But Turnstile, again, not to knock their musical talent, but then later on, they were also in a rock category. Pick one. You can't be in both.
Right. Yeah. Don't
soapbox is put away. I apologize.
And I think, you touched on it when you were talking about them having their finger on the pulse of the mainstream. To me, the hard rock and metal categories at the Grammys, I feel like that is comparable to professional wrestling in a way of how it's perceived by the mainstream. Some people look at it as, that's not really the thing. That's not really what we're into. But it's almost like they're obligated to have these categories, so it's like, we're just going to pick whatever we think is kind of going to fit in this mold. Is it going to be something that is easily digestible to as many people as possible? Yes, there's going to be a lot of bands out there that we find so much better, but and this is something we've talked about quite a bit before. Music is so subjective, and it's a beautiful thing in that regard because we all digest it differently. We all hear it differently. It's an art. It's subjective. There's no right or wrong answer. Sure, there's bands that we hear, it's like, that doesn't sound very good. There's bands we hear, it's like, this is amazing. It's not going to be a completely shared thing. And so, yeah, the Grammys, they do what they do, and it's good for a lot of the bands to have that Grammy nominee status on when they're promoting and touring. It's good to have Grammy winners. Obviously the members of the bands probably get a little bit more money out of something like that. But I don't also really look at the Grammys as this is the be-all, end-all award for what you're doing.
Yeah, having that measuring stick there, all it is just there by comparison to whomever you were compared to. It's not really a good physical representation, musical, artistic representation of the worthiness of the band. Right. And again, I think we've seen that for year and year and year of those bands that are always around. Mm-hmm. And then there are bands that have fallen by the wayside, but their material is just as good, if not better, in some cases.
Absolutely. So
it's six of one, half a dozen of another in some cases. But again, just had to get on my little soapbox there, and didn't mean to get as heated as I did. But yeah, I actually want to speak with someone that has the ability to do the voting and was involved in the process of how did you even select these bands, A, mm-hmm. and B, how did this one group get in two completely separate categories? It just doesn't, it didn't compute. It wasn't like a crossover. Like, again, you could have Goo Goo Dolls be on the pop and the rock. I would get it.
Yeah.
You could have, again, another good example would be a Dave Matthews Band. You could have them on the alternative performance and also in like a folk category almost. And I would get that. Right. Maybe some people have their feathers ruffled, but again, just I don't understand it, especially as someone, again, we've talked about our vintage. We're in our 40s. Deftones were in the rock category, not the metal category. And I know their newest album has a little bit more rock than metal to it. It's not like Metallica going from Injustice, Black Album, then to Load. It wasn't that level, but still there's enough difference. It's like, how is Deftones not in the metal category, but Turnstile was? It just can't compute.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But all right, so I tell you what we're going to do right now. We're going to go ahead, since we've had this moment of talking about music and stuff that's kind of not really gone our way. How about we bring things all the way back around and we get to our main event and talk about some things that we actually do want to talk about, and that is our Divorced Dad Rock playlist. Now, I want to say this going into it, because Divorced Dad Rock has been something that here lately has been very more apparent in my life for a couple reasons. Obviously, the whole getting divorced thing, but my new lady friend. We'll touch on this for just a second. Going through a divorce and everything, and I was scared as hell about the prospect of something like that. Reconnected with someone I knew many, many years ago. We'll call her Snap, because met her through Snapchat. That's how you were introduced to her. But one of the things we do is music is very, very important to her, important to me. We've shared that. Well, every now and then we'll do these video FaceTime chats when she's catching up on work and things like that. And she'll throw on some music in the background and kind of turns into a bit of a, have you heard this one? Do you remember this one? Can you tell me who this is? Well, Divorced Dad rock playlists have been they've become kind of a constant thing here with those here lately. And I know I told you about us doing that. And maybe that's what put this bug in our ears to want to do it. But it kind of turned into a bit of, we've got to talk about this now, because that was our era. The Divorced Dad rock stuff, late 90s, mid to late 90s, early 2000s, early to mid 2000s, our teenage years, and now we can relive them by talking about it. And so, obviously, we want to thank Snap for giving us this wonderful idea, so love you, babe. And so now, how about we go ahead and fire this thing off and talk about our picks. Now, what's our criteria for this?
And so the thing is, another derogatory term from our era of music that we're going to be discussing with this mix, it also fell into the butt rock category. And for those of you unfamiliar, it came from the era of the radio rock that you would hear. We play everything that rocks. Yep. So butt rock. Yep. It's that's what that is. So a lot of those that became meme worthy or got a lot of undeserved hatred for one reason or the other throughout the years. So namely, I'd say that around that mid 90s up through middle 2000s. Would you say that would be correct?
Yeah, that sounds about right, because everything kind of started to have its own little vibe, its own sound and everything. But it's coming back around, and it's almost in the world of classic rock to a degree. And now we're kind of going away from making fun of these songs the way that we were to a point now we're celebrating them. So, with that being said, we're going to give you our what we deem essential Divorced Dad rock playlist songs, and I want you, Siege, to go ahead and start us off.
And my first pick was one that actually got my gears turning as I was driving over the weekend to go pick up that pizza for our Royal Rumble watching event, and put the two and two together again. Snap, thanks for kind of planting the seed deep in the recesses, but I do have to give credit to a band that has done a great job on social media of getting themselves canceled by a lot of the music community. The band is Trapt. You may remember that name by the one song that you couldn't escape from movies and video game soundtracks, Headstrong.
Right.
But in the years since, they have gotten, namely the lead singer, very, 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 very vocal about a lot of things that seemingly, what side of the political spectrum you're on, they're very stupid. A lot of things, and very antagonistic toward their own fans. So, needless to say, they've become a bit of a parody of themselves and a butt of a lot of jokes. But this song is an undeniable banger and absolutely fits in to the category of Divorced Dad rock. The name of the song is Who's Going Home With You Tonight? And if you don't get this chorus stuck in your head, you're doing it wrong. Smitty, what is your number two pick, sir?
You led us off very well, and you were very accurate with your description of Trapt. It's such a joke, but you can't deny that that's one of those songs that's going to get in your brain, and it is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So that's a great first pick. So my pick, the number 2 overall pick, I'm going to come out swinging with just one of the absolute staple songs of this genre we're talking about, and that is Cold by Crossfade. Now, I got to see these guys open up for Alter Bridge back when Alter Bridge was on their first tour after releasing their first album, and this song was it was one of those songs that was on everything as well. And you couldn't escape it, but it gets in your brain so hard to the point you can just be walking around and just all of a sudden it's like, looking back at me. And I'm like, all right, there it is. Yep, it's back around again. I know exactly what's happening. We're going to listen to some Crossfade. And to me, one of the absolute essential songs when we're going to talk about divorced dad rock, butt rock, whatever you want to call it, that song has to be on the playlist, and I will not back down on that one whatsoever. I will stand strong. As much as people want to make fun of it and laugh at it, it has to be there. So that's my number one pick, number 2 overall. All right, Siege, what are you coming in with next?
So for my next pick, this one is less divorced dad rock and more a reason for piracy. Now, I don't want the FCC to come after me or come down on me like those, one of our shows that we reference all the time, the IT crowd, doing the anti-piracy ad where somebody actually gets shot for downloading a song. But I bought this record. The band, the one single they had on the radio, I vibed with so hard. Lyrically, you can twist it to fit in the divorced dad rock mode, and I think it fits perfectly well on this list. But that said, I was so horrifically disappointed by literally every other song on the record besides this song. Yeah. So, with that said, name of the band, Switchfoot. And the song is Meant to Live. Now, my wife will fight me, I don't know if physically, but with words, which hurt. She will say they do have a few other good songs. I dispute that, namely because I spent $13 at Best Buy. And $13 in early 2000s money is a lot of money. It's like $80 now, I think. I'm not sure how inflation works, but I'm pretty sure it's around $80 now. So a big proponent of piracy, thanks to Switchfoot. So thank you guys very much. Meant to Live is my second pick on the list. Where do you go from your Crossfade pick, sir?
All right, so coming up next, this is a band that I was into in the moment and absolutely thought that these guys kind of carried a bit of the lineage of someone like Nirvana, kind of coming out of grunge, post-grunge, going into, nu metal and then this wave of rock that they were doing at that point. At the moment, they caught me hard, and I latched onto them for this album, and especially this song when I heard it. Anymore, the guy has kind of made just a joke of himself, a joke of his career. He may be going through some stuff, so I don't want to stand back and sit here and feel like I'm all high and mighty, like I got my shit together and he doesn't. But he's not really done himself any favors with some of the things that you've seen here lately, especially the Nirvana cover that they did was so bad. But my next pick, my number 2 pick, is going to be Puddle of Mudd with Control. And that song, which at the time that it came out, I mean, I was learning it on guitar. We were wanting to try to cover it in the band we were in. I don't think we ever actually did, but it was one of those. It's like, this has a good sound to it. I'm gonna rock this. And for whatever reason, one of the things that I still remember to this day is in the breakdown part toward the end when the drummer's doing a drum roll, loses his drumstick, and you can see him just kind of go when he's doing it. And that sticks with me. But that song, it really has some catchiness to it. And that album, like, I really thought that maybe there was more in the tank with those guys. Obviously, there wasn't. But in the moment, maybe it's one of those in a vacuum things that maybe something else is bigger and better. I don't know. But as far as divorced dad rock goes, gotta have this song on the list. So I am very much putting it as my number 2 pick. And I'm happy with that. So moving on, what you got for us, Siege?
So for my next pick, I'm going with, you could have gone with a multitude of the songs out of their catalog for the divorced dad rock, but I wanted to steer it a little bit further away from the obvious picks. The best way that I can set this up is this was, I think the band itself is more suited for the dad rock genre than the songs themselves, namely because there were girls when we were in middle school that were all about this band. And I'm like, what, like, our parents should be listening to this band. I don't understand it. It wasn't even the subjects were so mature that, clutch my pearls. I shouldn't be listening to this. It didn't click with me. And I think as I've gotten older, lyrically, still really hadn't connected with me all that much. But musically, I could appreciate this band a hell of a lot more now than I was when I was 14 or even earlier than that. But the group, and I'm sure if anybody of our age range is listening, you're going to realize why I mentioned middle school, because around 6th grade, that's when all of a sudden these girls that were into pop rock were listening to this band. I was like, why this one out of all of the other bands? I don't get it. Right. Either way, the pick is Live. And for those of you also not initiated enough to know Live, recognize it other than maybe a T-shirt here or there or an album cover, they're the Placenta Falls to the Floor band. But that would be an easy grab. I'm not going that way. I'm going with, in my opinion, their best riff song, Lakini's Juice. Absolutely phenomenal song. Lyrically fits right in there with that dad rock theme, but I'm sticking with this one for the Divorced Dad Rock, more for the band than the song. But again, probably my favorite Live song, Lakini's Juice, is my number 3 pick, and our overall number 5 pick for the list. Smitty, we move from your number 2 or number 4 pick, Puddle of Mudd, Control, which I'm convinced you just picked it because you like the way he says "smack my ass."
Maybe a little bit, not gonna lie.
But where do you go from here? What's your number 6 pick?
All right. So at this point, it's kind of going to be a lot of low-hanging fruit bands and songs, which you kind of need for something like this, because if you're going to be making a playlist, they're going to be talking about it, you got to have the bands that anytime somebody talks about a genre, you instantly think of this band. And for me, my number 3 pick, and honestly, probably could have been higher on the list. I don't know that we're necessarily ranking them, but you have to have this band, and I'm pretty sure everybody's going to know who I'm talking about. Nickelback. How You Remind Me. Because, my God, for a stretch in like 2001, 2002, you could not go anywhere, literally anywhere, and not hear this song. It was on every single format. I'm pretty sure that there are some classic rock stations that's like, look, we want to get some of their thunder and just slide this stuff right into our playlist because all these other stations are getting off of play. But man, I remember when that song came out, and I'm going to tell a funny story just really quickly. We had lost MTV in my hometown for a hot minute on the cable package because small town, finally getting MTV. All of us wanted to watch Beavis and Butthead. Parents weren't having any of that. And so it got switched over to Much Music, which is a Canadian broadcast channel. I don't know if it's still around or not. So I got kind of inundated with a lot of Canadian bands. Many of them I still do enjoy. Nickelback was one of them. And I remember seeing the video for this probably before it really got more popular than it was. It's like, oh man, this song's really catchy. This is a good song. And then we get MTV back, and all of a sudden I'm seeing it on MTV, and I'm like, oh crap, there's that song that I just saw on Much Music. This song is on MTV now. Okay, well, this song is going to be really popular, and by God, it became one of the most popular freaking songs of all time, it seems like. But even my mom loved Nickelback, and that says a lot because it was not something that my mom listened to. She was big in the 60s and 70s pop and 80s pop and stuff like that. So for my mom to be picking up on Nickelback, you know that it was huge. And so she was that's kind of a good measuring stick to know that when you're very popular, when a lot of parents are starting to pick up on it as well, that's definitely it. So yeah, Nickelback, easily my number 3, number 6 overall, and yeah, we're going to get into the heavy hitters now. So Siege, what are you coming at with for your next pick?
So kind of in the same vein as you almost can't escape it. and I think has become kind of the poster child for that butt rock and divorced dad rock, or many other titles that you could slap on it as well. Even at this point, it makes my skin crawl. Classic rock at this stage of the game. But let's just cut to the chase. No build up like I did with my last one. It's Creed. Creed is absolutely one of the prototypical poster children for this, no different than Nickelback. But I think despite some of the Scott Stapp lead singer syndrome dealings that went on and his alcohol problems, leading the band to escape and become Alter Bridge, I think, generally speaking, they've been able to dodge a lot more of the hatred that Nickelback was not able to shirk off. And again, I still can't compute that exactly. Maybe it's because Chad Kroeger has enough of a punchable face. I'm not sure. But and Nickelback didn't play the Super Bowl. That's another one too. That maybe that's the key there. But yeah, I think unlike live where I swung a little wider, I'm gonna aim straight for the center, hopefully hitting a home run on this one. Higher. Again, just kind of like your Nickelback pick. It's very much that you think this overall overarching subject, and that's the one that's going to pop into your head. So Creed Higher is my number. Let's see, where are we at now? That's my number 7 pick. So, sir, what's your number 8 pick?
All right, so I'm going to go in with a band that, again, at the time, was absolutely just all about this band 100% for a span of probably 2 or 3 of their albums. And I specifically remember when this album came out, this song especially was the one that just reached out and grabbed me. And I was glad that it was the first single and the reason that I ended up buying an album, which it ended up becoming one of those albums. Put in, push play, let it go. I'm listening to the entire freaking thing. Don't really care for the band now. It's kind of the lead singer thing. Once again, he's gone in his direction. He's, more political than what I really particularly care for in the way that he approaches things. It is what it is. Politics is politics. I don't want to get into that right now. And so what I do remember, though, is just how much this song just really grabbed me. And it is very much another one of those songs that is, when you think of Divorced Dad, you're thinking of these guys, and I'm throwing it out right now. It's Stained with It's Been a While. And this is off the Break the Cycle album, and I think they're getting ready to start their 25th anniversary tour of this. Going to be coming out later on in the spring through the fall. I've saw some dates in the area. There's a part of me that kind of wants to go see this, especially because they've got like Hoobastank on there, and I believe Seether, another good band that could fit on this, and then Hinder on the back end as an opener. So, but, all those bands could fit into our playlist. But for me, Stained, It's Been a While, an absolute staple, must be on this list for me. So that is my 4th pick. We're halfway through our list, over halfway through our list at this point. So Siege, where are you hitting us next?
So for my next one, it's one that actually burned for me. It was one that when it first came out, grabbed me by the shirt collar, shook me around like that dad that was a few beers in and was a divorced dad himself. But that's neither here nor there. I did love this song very much when it first came out. I think I burned myself on it from multiple mixed CDs and the actual album it came off of. But then as we've progressed throughout the years, some of those songs just come back and hit you like a wave. And this is one of those songs. And I kind of make light of it, but that kind of does fit the description for this song, the way it grabs you just right out of the gate and doesn't let go the whole 3 minutes or so that it's on. It's Saliva, Click, Click, Boom. That was their big one right out of the gate. It may not be their most popular song anymore out of their whole catalog. It may not even be one that gets a whole lot of radio play anymore. I'll be perfectly honest with you. But that was one that it was kind of on the fringe of nu metal without being nu metal. And Josie Scott has kind of had his ups and downs and is doing his own solo thing, but doing all Saliva songs. And then Saliva's out there doing their own thing with Josie songs, but not with him. So it's weird. It's like the John Fogerty Creedence Clearwater Revival deal. It's, well, which one do I want to see? Do I want to see the voice or do I want to see the rest of the band? So either way, a little bit of a divorced kid situation with the music being the kid in the situation. Yes, it was your fault. But for our divorced dad rock playlist, for all intents and purposes, Saliva, Click Click Boom is my next pick. Smitty, where are you going from here?
Oh man, that's going to be a hard one to follow up because very much like you, like that song, that opening riff and just the riff throughout the entirety of the song, just that thing drives. And that was a perfect one to throw on as when you're burning a CD. Kids, we used to have to burn CDs. We couldn't just stream on Spotify. And so when you burned a CD back in the day, that was a great number one track to throw on there just to be like, all right, we're setting the tone, and tonight's going to be a good one. But, moving along, I'm going to try to throw in another heavy hitter, a band that came a little bit later on in terms of divorced dad rock. They were, earlier, pushing toward the middle of the 2000s. But it's 3 Days Grace. I Hate Everything About You. Now, this song, just from the title alone, I think any divorced dad can be like, I relate to this. Yep, you're singing a song that's speaking to my heart right now, man. Yep, I'm just going to drink me another 1 or 10 of these beers and sit out in the garage, and this is how my night's going to go, because at some point you're going to be like, I hate everything about you. Yes, I really do. But as far as divorced dad rock goes, it's got everything. It's got that driving, good little punchy riff to it. It's got some angst behind it. So, I mean, it's still kind of drawing a bit from the post-grunge fallout that we got to experience in the later part of the 90s going forward. And so it really kind of ties a lot of things together. And just that Adam Gontier had just a really powerful voice behind him. And I'm glad that he's made his way back into the band, because it just never sounded right without him, because his voice was so much of an important part of the band as the music was. And so having him back and being able to do those songs again, for people that are fans of 3 Days Grace, has to be really cool. With them splitting duties of the singers, and both being able to acknowledge that this is what got the band going, this is who has kept the band going, and now we can work together and coexist. But as far as getting back to the playlist, gotta have some angst in there for a divorced dad, I think. And so definitely coming in, my number 5 pick, 3 Days Grace, I Hate Everything About You, gotta be on this one. So we're down to our last 2 picks, Siege. What you got for me now?
So for my next pick, it's kind of the interesting one. It fits in the divorced dad rock category, but it actually is, my wife and I were high school sweethearts. So we are still together. We've been together for this year. This November will be 25 years together. And, we got married in 2009, compute, carry the one. Yeah, well, we've been married for a long time too. But we will have been together for 25 years this November. This was one of those within the first 6 months of us dating. This was one of those shared CDs that at this stage, I can't even remember which one of us burned it for the other one. It was this band and Default that were the two that kind of were interchangeable. Yep. And they were on the same radio station, and half the time they were playing one after the other. But the one that I went with on this playlist that we're compiling here is The Calling, Wherever You Will Go. I just kind of felt like out of the mix of all the hundreds and thousands of songs that would fit in this category, I just felt like this one would be the one that, if you read through the lines a little bit tighter, it's not necessarily the lovey-dovey song that you might initially think it would be. So again, the Calling, Wherever You Will Go, is my next pick. Smitty, where do we go from here?
All right, this one is it's one of those that the first time I ever heard it and subsequently saw the video that was attached to it was kind of a mind blower, because we all, I won't say we all, but many of us grew up in our teenage years really latching on to Slipknot. we were struck by the masks. We were just struck by the energy, and had this dude that was singing and just growling and screaming his face off. And it's just such a wild energy to it. Come to find out, that dude could actually really sing well beyond just the screaming that he was doing. And so when we heard of this project called Stone Sour that was coming around, and there was this really beautiful acoustic song by Stone Sour, we were like, this can't be the same guy that's screaming in Slipknot. But it was. And so I was just blown away. But when you listen to the lyrics in this song, which is Bother, I'm going to Stone Sour, Bother, and it's still a song that is on my active playlist that I have right now. It's a song that anytime it comes on, I get this instant wave of nostalgia, and anymore as I'm older, I'm hearing the lyrics and I'm like, oh man, well, yeah, that one's hitting pretty freaking hard right now. And so I think that is also something that I look for in terms of a divorced dad rock playlist song, is that you've got to have some emotion behind it, because at that point you're feeling some stuff. And if you can feel stuff through a song, I mean, why not a song like this one? Just, again, a beautifully arranged song. You know, they had like some little instrumental behind it, and just, he wasn't overpowering when he was singing. It had very fluid, just a very clear, clean presentation, completely different from Slipknot. And it's something that definitely works in this realm of music, because, I mean, it's not heavy. It's not screaming. It's none of that. But it is hitting you so hard with emotion. And that is something I think is very paramount to a divorced dad rock playlist. So my next to last pick, I'm coming in Stone Sour and Bother. And all right, man, this is your last pick. What you got for us?
And again, I appreciate the shout out for being in Iowa now, and the man, the myth, the legend, Corey Taylor, being in Iowa when he wrote that song. So very, very nicely done, sir. So this one, believe it or not, is my last pick of the Divorced Dad rock playlist that we are coming up with. And it's a band that, unfortunately, I hate to throw them in the mix and kind of do the teasy, haha, Divorced Dad rock, because of the situation and the circumstance surrounding the lead singer, and I'm not sure how well he's doing at this stage of the game. I don't think that he's doing well, but our thoughts and prayers go out to him. And it just absolutely, the band, for everything I've heard, I've not met any of the individuals in the band, but anybody that has interacted with them throughout the years have just had nothing but great stories about them. They're great musicians. They've got excellent taste in music. You wouldn't figure that they would go as heavy as they do in the stuff they listen to with the music that they put out. But my choice is going to be the band Three Doors Down and the song Let Me Go. And researching a little bit as we were compiling this list, there are a bunch of their songs that realistically should be bigger than they are. And unless you're one of those guys or girls that were listening to them at like a breakneck pace, like when they first came out, you were going to be first in line to get their CD or get any form of the album that you could. There are a lot of those songs that I would consider to be deep cuts, and maybe I am mistaken because I just didn't listen to them enough. But this is one that I remember when it dropped, and I absolutely did love it. But again, I think we were also spoiled by the amount of music that were coming out at that time. And so it was another one that just got buried on the pile of this one. So again, I think it is fitting, especially the lyrical content in it. And again, a special shout out going out to the guys in Three Doors Down, just because of what rotten circumstances the medical condition their singer has brought to them. But again, solid guys, and again, nothing but positive things coming out of the music world about them. But again, my last pick is going to be Three Doors Down, Let Me Go.
Oh man, great song. And again, yeah, Brad Arnold, everything that I've seen and read about that guy just seems like just a real class act of a human being. And I've seen some of the social media posts, and it looks like he's facing it as best as he can. And it doesn't seem to be a great situation by any means, but again, we can just send up our prayers and keep those dudes in mind. And again, yeah, we were blessed when we were in 99, 2000, 2001, just the sheer amount of music we had to choose from that was dropping just on a regular basis. Like, you couldn't even fully really digest one album, and another band is putting something else out, and you had to have it. And so it was not uncommon to go into the music store and walk out with 3, 4, 5 different CDs, and then just try to find the time to listen to all of it and really, really soak it in. We were truly in a great era of just bands constantly giving us something. And that's something that I think about now. It's like, it's easy to book music out with streaming compared to what it was back then, I imagine, to a degree. But at the same time, the quality of what we got back in that time, it was phenomenal. And it's one of those, maybe it's nostalgia saying this, but just a freaking great time to live and being into the music. So with my last pick, I'm kind of going to go back to, it's a band that's thought of more as grunge, and very much one of the big ones of the grunge era. But if you take into consideration the lyrical content of this song, and just how heart-wrenching of a song it is, talking about the loneliness and facing the fear of maybe my life is over to a degree, facing all these issues. And it's still one of the songs that I will consider to be the most beautifully haunting songs of all time, based on both the lyrical content and the voice of the man that is singing it. And that is Alice in Chains' Nutshell. And it's still one of those songs that to this day will make the hair on my arms and the back of my neck stand up. And every now and then when you're in a certain mood, when I'm in a certain mood, like, it can make me emotional just hearing how Lane Staley, just bearing his soul, like he did on so many songs. But it seems like this song in particular, and especially some of the more, the later Alice in Chains stuff, where he's going through it and he's very much talking about what he's going through. But Nutshell has always stood out to me because of the fact that he just opens up and lets it go. This song is not heavy. This song is not overproduced. It is very straightforward. It is very much a simple song in terms of what you're listening to. But it sets, kind of a dark tone to a degree. But it's one of those that very much sticks with you. And I think that is something, again, that is pretty much paramount for a divorced dad rock playlist. And so, yeah, we're going a little bit earlier than what most people would think would be the time frame for this rock, but I think it has to be on there. And I'm very much happy and staying firm with saying that this will be my final pick. And I am very happy with our playlist and seeing what we've got. We're going to put it on Spotify as well. We're going to create this playlist. Actually, I did that the other day when we talked about it. So if you want to listen along to all of our picks, we've got it out there. It's the off-topic, on-brand Divorced Dad Rock playlist. And so, Siege, how do you feel about what we've created?
So I really do think this is a solid playlist. It's definitely going to be one you can throw on when you're vacuuming, when you're doing the dishes, whenever you're having a sad drink alone, if you are the divorced dad amongst us. You could even not have to be a cis male to enjoy the divorced dad rock playlist. You can be a divorced mom. You can be whatever you identify as. I think it will fit the occasion very well. And again, trying to play well with algorithms. And instead of having to recreate the wheel for all of the different platforms, we are just going to focus on Spotify here. But again, yeah, I think we've got a good solid list here, man. And excited to share it around and see how others feel about it. And obviously, I think there's a good opportunity for the call and response. Here is our call. You could respond with what your additions to the list would be. And hell, for that matter, we can start adding them to the list as we get feedback from the general public. So this thing could be like 900 hours long by the time things are said and done with.
And I'm all right with that. I encourage anybody listening to this, because we limited this to 14 songs because we approached it like how we used to make mix CDs and mixtapes back in the day. You only had a certain amount of space to create these things. So we went at it like that. But now, you can create pretty much infinite playlists. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, well, you forgot this song, please let us know what we forgot or what we left off, what you thought deserved to be on here. If there's a song on here you're like, I don't really know if that fits necessarily, that's fine as well. Let us know, because we love these music conversations, and we definitely want you guys and gals, anybody that's listening to our podcast tonight, we want you to tell us what needs to be on this list. So heck yeah, throw some comments on there, either here on where you're listening, on our socials, anywhere that you can reach us. You can email us. I don't think anybody has an address yet, but if somehow a note shows up at my door telling me to put it on there, first, I'm going to be really freaked out by it. But secondly, I'm going to throw it on the playlist. So we want to make this thing grow, and we would absolutely love all of your help, your suggestions. And it doesn't matter if it's a band that's already on this playlist. Let us know if there's another song that you like that needs to go on here, and we will absolutely be throwing it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we are trying to make it as easy to connect with us as possible. Still trying to grow on the video side of things. So eventually we will be adding more. But for right now, Instagram, Facebook, if you know us personally, you can find us on our individual social media platforms, either Facebook or Instagram. And I know that you still begrudgingly have an X account. So if you want to try and dig through this cesspool that is that, you can reach out to Smitty on that as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us on this journey of some serious topics and some not so serious topics. And we look forward to doing it again next week. Smitty, I think we set the tone last week. Let's set it again. Let us extend fingers and touch tubes, sir. I love you, my friend.
I love you, my dude.